everyone, it's Alexis, and today I'm going to talk about a favorite topic of mine while playing Duel Links. So basically, I actually really love Yugioh GX Season 3 out of all the seasons because it's actually where there was a shift in the story of GX. When you talk about GX, one of the things that people usually remembers is the first season wherein it's just chill and fun and they go to the academy to learn about dueling. And most of the time it's just chilling in the backyard with the crew, in the schoolyard with the crew. And it was actually a bit fun for the first season when it actually turned into something a bit more sinister and have a certain plot near the end. But when season 1 ended, it wasn't really something that I liked personally because the villains weren't all that great and it wasn't as entertaining as I hoped it would be. And season 2 was probably my least favorite. It introduced Edo Phoenix, which is one of my favorite characters. My first ever deck, like the first one that I bought and collected was the Hero, and it was use them. But then when I actually GX after a few years, I started to realize that it wasn't really the most ideal season. I actually haven't read all of the cards. This is just a structure deck. Once per turn, if you control this card, you can target. Okay, so I'm just going to activate this field spell and then this one for LP. Okay, that won't help us. So I'll just normal summon Ocean. Okay, so this is the structure deck that recently came out. It's the Hero Generation Next, if I remember correctly. So there's that. I hope it's good. I don't really know. But I haven't ended the turn. Okay. Did I attack? Okay, I was able to attack. So it's currently in the spell card. So aside from that, season 2 was a bit weird because it involved the hypnotism and a lot of stuff that I don't really like. Favorite one, okay, no. And then what really amazed me was how season 3 shifted the tone. You can really see the shift in season 3 and season 2 with just the first episode, and even with how the opening and ending sounded compared to the last 2 seasons, you know it's going to get real. And the introduction of the new characters in the ship makes it more mysterious. And Jesse Anderson was really one of my favorite new characters that was introduced, mainly because Jaden finally found someone who can understand him. Like, we know that Manjome can talk to the Ojama, but then they don't really have a good friendship kind of personality compared to the Jesse Anderson and Jaden. And aside from that, the Crystal Bees. I mean, they're just so adorable. I do like using them, and I feel like giving more personality to the Crystal Bees really make them more appealing. You know how Ruby Carbuncle is this cat that actually just acts like a cat, and then there's a tortoise. I forgot the name of the tortoise, but the tortoise who was just so shy in the dub and in the sub. I actually watch Yugioh GX in my own language, so I wasn't it wasn't a for kids dub because I get to hear the Japanese opening and ending, and the language that it was dubbed in my country in actually used its own voice actors, and it put a bit of its own spin and was more dedicated to the original material. So when I rewatched it years after, there wasn't really much of a difference between how the character interacted and how certain emotional scenes were translated in my language and in the original Japanese language. But it is interesting though if you watch the Yugioh GX sub in, let me guess, Kiss Anime or any of the illegal sites, it will actually be funny because the sub, the one who subbed this episode, kind of felt like he or she gave up halfway. Like it was filled with different kinds of text, and then it was like I don't know what he's saying. Something about like that was the literal sub. It was actually fun to watch all of them, but also frustrating because you don't really get to understand the material as a whole. So that's one of the things. And aside from that, I think when it comes to villain, the first part of season 3 more was more emotionally in was more emotionally how do I say this, was more emotional for me because it was about they don't really have an understand they don't really understand what's going on, and at the same time they have this contrasting thinking of, oh, who's the real enemy? Is it the new transfer students, or is it Viper, or is it someone more sinister? Is there really an enemy? There was also that kind of point wherein, oh, the bracelet couldn't be evil. It must be because people are just dueling. They must be having this dueling shock and was getting kind of tired. I'm sorry if I'm not playing the game because I don't really like Zachary. I don't even remember who Zachary is, and did Jaden even fought against him? But I do remember that the fight between Jaden and Viper was so intense in when I first watched it and when I rewatched it again, because at the end of the day, Viper died. Like, he straight up went, Ayuba drove him into suicide, into killing himself. Like, he was running after his son and then killing himself. Like, I know dual monsters can be dark. Like, if you watch season 0, there were a lot of dark plots in there. Like, I forgot most of it, but I remember there was a kidnapping and hostage crisis in a restaurant, and then when Thea was like doing part-time in a hamburger restaurant, and then they suddenly got a hostage crisis and stuff like that. So season 0 was dark, but then Dual Monsters kind of have it themed a bit compared to let's say compared to season 0. So, and if you watch season 1 and season 2 of GX, it can be about destroying the humanity and with the satellite, but no one ever really died. Even Sartorius didn't actually die. He just got into rehab in season 1. In season 2. In the end of season 2, he just went into rehab with his sister, and that was it. But Viper, he died. Guys, can you imagine that I was in, I don't know, 6th grade or 5th grade when this showed up, and then I watched a villain die? Well, that was kind of a bit interesting for me because I never watched anything that dark before. Like, sure, there's Digimon when Digimon die, but human dying, that's very different. And then, I actually don't like these kinds of events. Like, I rather have the BB Castle wherein you keep on dueling as you go up compared to... Oh, I actually want to try dueling this one. I actually haven't won a lot of games against the Vagabond, so it's interesting when I actually get to duel them. They're really hard since they actually mimic a player. It's like when this card is sent to the graveyard, can banish this card from your graveyard to target. Okay, set and turn. So I was going off tangent with the Viper thing. So that I remember, I haven't actually bothered checking until when this campaign is. Like, I don't know if it introduces Yugioh and goes even to the other dimension. But you control the target one. This one, when this card, target. Okay, I'll just summon Yugioh Duel Links. So if you've been watching my stream, I actually don't use Yugioh deck. So this is something new to me, so let's see. No. I'm doing auto duel. Is it cold playing when you just press auto duel all the time? I don't know. Is it? Comment down below if you're watching this stream not live. Cause I really wonder, is it still called playing Duel Links if I actually just press auto duel and let the AI duel for me while I talk about what I like? Anyways, it's been a long time since I actually did a live stream or even produced a video. I'm very, very sorry about that. But talking aside, going back to the topic, why is GX my favorite season? It's GX Season 3 specifically. Because it gave so much character depth to Jaden. Like, you know how in the season 1 and season 2, he felt like a guy used to. He keeps on winning, he keeps on, everything will go great at the end because he'll always win. And of course, season 2 gave us a new situation wherein after he dueled Edo Phoenix, he can't see his cards anymore, and that kind of put him in a stump and a fight against himself whether he can still duel and if he's really going to be a duelist, and he wanted to get out of the island and stop dueling altogether because he can't see his card. And then Dual Magic Kaiba Corporation with the new station happened, but in season 2, even though that happened, we understand and we know as viewers that at the end of the day, he's gonna go back to that island and be able to see his card, and he's going to defeat Edo Phoenix. Like, at the end of the day, that's going to happen. Even if you're just a watcher who does not know anything, you know that will happen. But with his bioband, well, I didn't really know that it was called biobands. But in season 3, it was different. When I saw Jaden battling Viper, it was so intense, and like there was at one point when I questioned, will he even win? Like, it was that intense. Like, he's backed up the wall, he's getting bitten by all these snakes that Viper has, and It was scary. Like, guys, did you see Viper's monsters? It was scary. And then you were coming out and then just doing this to Viper, like the face with his hand and stuff like that. Yes. And then transferring them all to a new dimension. It was all so surprising. Like, we know this. Oh, we didn't actually do a Viper correctly. We just get transported into the spirit realm. That's so. I was getting excited in dueling Viper, and we didn't even get to duel him. We just got to duel this monster. Is it because Viper's monsters are not yet in Duel Links? I really don't know. Like, we just skipped Viper. It's like one of the most important duel of Season 3, and we skipped him. Like, guys, are you seeing this? Like, we skipped Viper. A very important tool that traumatized me as a child and made me who I am today. Someone who really loves getting people killed and seeing people get killed in the anime. Yeah, I love seeing people get killed in the anime. Mass change, yes. Target 1 area. Okay. So this is my first time doing this. Polka and this one must be special. This card. Okay, I think I love that. Oh, I don't have the mass change yet. I misread that. Bonic vermin. I hate those vermin. Wait, I still don't understand why. You better than what 007? Who's what 007? Tarun Janki. Hello. Hi. By the way, who is what 007? Like, who is he? You're better than what 007. Warriors. Should I chat? Should probably ask who's what 007. Who what 007? I don't have monsters. Dream Valor face. I'll just set this. This one, if an elemental hero monster controller makes damage from. Who is very rude? Oh, what did he do? What did he do? Or what did she do? I don't know if what is a thriller guy. Oh, well, I think I think I grew up in an environment where a lot of people don't like swearing, so that's why I don't really swear. I think it's, and there's also the fact that I'm not comfortable with speaking in English, since English is not my first language, so that's why I don't really swear that much. And if I do swear, I usually swear in my language. I can see why it's a turn off though, but alright. It's actually really hard to do chat and no. I don't know what to do. I don't know what I should do. So should I? When this card is destroyed, you can banish this card. No. I'll just put this in set. Then attack. I know I shouldn't really worry because I didn't really pick the hard mode in these battles, so there's nothing to worry much about in my opponent's back row and set monsters, but you know, can't help but worry. Oh, it's the winning music. It could only to a level 5. No, I'll just flip some of this. And then I'll go and attack. Do you guys remember, like, in season 3, when they were in the spirit world, like almost all of the students turned into ghoul, and at the same time they were battling about kitchen and what they have to eat. I really appreciate that fact because most of the time when people get transported into another world, they don't even talk about, oh, how do we buy this? How do we get money? Where do we stay? Where do we live? And what do we eat? They don't talk about that. They just keep on fighting and fighting one monster after another. And I really appreciate it that at least in this anime, in this season, they actually talked about the food, and it was actually one of the major subplot in the anime series. They were fighting about how to get to the food. They were talking about rationing the food and giving food to all of the students. And there's also a subplot where they were finding medicine. So that's all actually interesting because it actually tells you how hard it is to get transported into another world, and it's not shown as a fantasy. Like most shows currently are a lot of isekai. Oh, well, does that mean that season 3 of Yugioh GX is technically an isekai? I wonder if any of the new animes and light novels actually got, got influenced by the isekai stuff in season 3 of Yugioh GX. I don't know. What's that? Different dimension capsule. Select one card from your deck. And oh, that must be power bound. I'm just going to set this. And hopefully you won't. Hey, remember you picked the easy mode, so there's no need to worry about attacking most of his monsters and his back row. You pick the easy mode. It doesn't even have an extra monsters. So hopefully we will win this one. Cyber Dark Edge. When this card is normal, someone select one. Okay, we won't worry that much about it. Oh, it attacked directly. But half its attack. Okay. We're still good. We're still good. Generation next. You're awesome. Yes. How many turns before he get the second standby phase? So he's going to get the card now. Wonder what that was. Can I see what that was? Nope. Sorry. You know how you play Yugioh in order to escape all of your responsibilities? That's what I'm doing. So I remember this duel. It was actually very exciting because we got trolled so hard in the first episode of season 3 when Jesse Anderson was like, and I summoned Rainbow Dragon, and nothing happened. And then finally, when he was battling Zane Truesdale, we finally get Rainbow Dragon. And it was so amazing to finally see Zane again because in season 2 we saw his plot being heavily. Actually, I really like how Zane Truesdale's character was handled in the first 3 seasons of the anime. Because in the first season, he was this perfect guy who's graduating, who's the best, and he's someone who Jaden never beat in a duel because in their first duel, Jaden lost, and in the second duel, they were a draw. So technically, Jaden didn't win that duel, and Zane Truesdale wasn't defeated by Jaden. And then in the second season, we see him from a student into going to a career. And his career is what everyone in the Duel Academia envisions to be. Why would you enroll in an academy that mainly talks about dueling if you're not going to be a pro player? So it technically it's like the athletic schools or the science schools wherein the school is heavily focused on one thing because that's what you want to have a future on. So imagine you're going to a school that focuses on, let's say, soccer, and you're studying about soccer, playing soccer, and that's what the school is about. Sure, you're going to learn about math and science, but it's mostly about soccer. So of course, you're going to have a career out of that. And true enough, Zane actually had a career as a pro duelist. And we see him being this great pro duelist, and then suddenly everything goes downhill from that. And I really appreciate that even though Yugioh is technically a kids show, well, technically it should not be a kids show because there's really some dark themes in season 1, season 4. I think GX was really mature and DM is really also mature. I don't know why you were watching this as kids. This is not for kids. I think in terms of anime, the only Yu-Gi-Oh franchise that's really for kids is Yu-Gi-Oh 7. Yes. So anyway, as I was saying, so in season 2, he was a pro duelist who went underground, who was doing this illegal stuff with all the chains and electricity. And then in season 3, we see him again for the very first time trying to help everyone get out of this spirit world, and that's something I appreciate because you see that season 2, the things that happened in season 2 wasn't in vain. He was trying to better himself, and this is that. Once per turn, if you control, you can target. Okay, I'm just going to activate Skysweeper to use CP, and then I'll just summon Ocean. And then, what I also really liked is the reason why he was following Jaden around in order to go back into the spirit world was because he was trying to find himself. We see someone who was great, went downhill, and he's trying to better himself, and then knowing that he doesn't have much time left in his hands, and going to the spirit world to find that one last world that he wanted. It was really mature for a kids show, and I like it, and I love it. I love Zane Trues there. And if you guys actually watch Yugioh everything, he was actually talking about how not connected. Jimmy is helping one. Oh, we lost. I got distracted because I got disconnected, and then suddenly we lost, which is sad. Which is really, really sad. Wait, can I just look at where I can go next? Oh. Maybe I should end the stream here for now, because I'm just going to check if I have a good connection, and hopefully I do. Okay, we now have excellent connection, so that's good. Alright, we're just going to... Why didn't he activate mass change? This AI is so weird. During quarantine. Wow, quarantine, and I'm in quarantine right now. Discard during each of your standby phase. Roll a 6-sided dice. Oh, okay. I wonder which monster we should do mass change on. Let's see. Oh, I'm just going to press Ocean because I haven't. Must be some. And this card cannot be destroyed by card effects. Oh, alright. Didn't even look which one has the higher attack. Okay, let's do it. Tap. Yay! And against Ravia, Lord of Phantasm. Okay. Hey, we have defeated around the first two. I think we did go to two regions right now, and we're going to the third one. I wonder where the story will turn us next. Okay. Zone completed. So we currently have 2 more zones left. Okay, that was a disappointing battle because... okay, where's another dimension? We still have a lot of dice fragments, so I think we can still go on. You know, there was this AMV wherein Jaden was dueling against Braun, and it was the song that was playing was Angel of Darkness, and since then I really love the song Angel of Darkness because it was so fitting to Jaden, and Jaden was my favorite anime character at that time, and it felt so part of his identity. And back then, Jaden being merciless and he kept on fighting against Braun, even though Braun already has his life points down to 0. He just kept on telling E-Hero to attack and attack. And what's interesting in that duel was that it was kind of a point of no return for Jaden. Like, that was dark. Like, you know how even though like Jaden gets his friends back at the end because they weren't really dead, they just got sent into another dimension, and Yugioh can technically bring them back. It was the feeling of at that very moment, you realize that your friends are never ever going back. It just hurts you. And aside from that, these were the characters that we always loved. Like, we have Aleksis and Manjome, and we also have Alexis' brother. I forgot his name. He was this weird guy. I forgot. But anyway, Alexis' brother, and then Tyrano. It was really dark, and it felt so hard to... It was hard to blame Jaden that it was his fault, but at the same time, you know it is, because he got so obsessed with trying to find Jessie, because he was blaming himself that he believes he's the reason why Jessie's gone, and the very thing that he just wants in life is to bring Jessie back. And you know, in season 1 and season 2, I kept on talking about it, how Jaden was this guy who's always funny and who's always having fun and just chilling, and you know he'll win at the very end, and you always find it fun to see him win at the odds and him not giving up. But then you see this one when you know he'll win, like, but you don't want him to win. Like, that was so conflicting because you know if he wins, his friends are never ever coming back. But this is the first time I click on this, by the way. Let's see what we got. We got Polychemy Critter High Dragon and Rainbow Pad, Pajama Knight, Crystal Blessing, Spirit of the Breeze, and Beastly Mirror Ritual. No, sometimes I don't really like the card lottery. What the card lottery game give us. I don't know if it's just me, but probably a lot of people don't like them. Come on, stop wasting my dice roll. Why does it keep on using me one? Alright. Prove that you're strong enough to fight Jesse. Wait, what? 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 Why am I fighting Zane Truesdale right now? Is this skipping a lot of Season 3 content? How could they? They should skip a lot of content. I don't like that. Oh, now that I realize it, I don't actually have Yugioh Neos in my deck. Why don't I have an Yugioh Neos? Why didn't I bother to put Yugioh Neos in this deck? Why does this structure deck not have Yugioh Neos? The questions in my mind. You know, there's a certain... Wait, why am I fighting Zane Tuesday? Like, the conversation a while ago was that prove to me that you're worth finding Jesse. What? That didn't happen in the anime. At least I don't remember it happening in the anime. What is it talking about? I mean, I appreciate all of these events, but if you're just going to try to recreate the season 3, wherein the whole fight against evil, you can at least be loyal to the original content and just not skip on things. Like how they skipped Viper and actually fought with someone else. I don't get it. Like they literally skipped fighting against Viper, and now I think they skipped on the whole Supreme King content, and that's not okay. And I'm not focusing on this duel, and I don't know if I'm winning or not. I'm able to connect the chat. Why? Tell me why. Tell me why. Ain't nothing. You know, whenever I watch Yugioh GX, I always ask myself is because when I actually created a poll on Twitter talking about Yugioh GX. I doing this stream wherein I talk about why I like season 3, and someone said that, oh, isn't season 3 the most hated season? And I'm like, what? Really? Because I love it. It's my favorite season. Well, season 4 was better in my opinion, but season 3 was my favorite, mainly because of Supreme King Hao, and also the fact that it actually delved into a lot of morally ambiguous stories. Like, you don't really know if you like it questions your morality. Like sometimes you ask yourself, is what the main character doing alright? Is it in line with your morals? And sometimes the answer is no. Like, Jaden isn't pointed as this hero that will always win, and he's not the main character who's always good. Sometimes he's bad. He do bad things, and he regrets them and change them. And same can be said with Zane Truesdale. He's not this morally right character. He's questionable. His morals are questionable. Even Edo Phoenix's morals are questionable. Like it's not always a straight. Oh, this is the main character. These are his friends. They're all good people. Because nope. Newsflash. They're not good people. Alright. No. That's not. And even Newell, he got painted as this character who's supposed to be Jaden's longtime friend, and she or he got this evil, how do you say this, evil light and darkness going around in outer space. Yeah. But at the end of the day, when you look at Jada's childhood, Yugo wasn't even that morally good being. He or she is not that good of a person or a monster. She doesn't have a moral compass that allows her to think about what's good and what's bad. She freaking puts Jaden's friends into coma. And if that's not morally wrong, I don't know what is. Alright. Wow, I completed the dual mission. Wait, I don't understand what part of the story we are right now. Like, do you guys even know where we are currently? I'm just going to keep rolling the dice, and if we run out of dice, okay, at least we're in the story. New student, new chaos, a luxury ocean on board a special duel. Oh, it's Adrian Gecko. Well, isn't that the first episode of the season? So why are we having an Adrian Gecko flashback? Why? We're all over that. I roll dice. So lost in despair, Jaden reunites with Bastion, is threatening to conquer same evil. Zane travels on, weakening everyone. Oh, they did skip all of the Supreme King content. Why? Why? Why, oh why? We're heading straight into Jesse Anderson. Oh, there were a lot of skip content. I can't stomach this. Why? You skip all of the juicy part of season 3. Why? Oh, I can activate polymerization. Why? You know how this just gets to show you how I don't have a slightest clue of all the monsters I have. This one, and then this one. I don't know if I'm doing the right choice, but then this is easy mode, so I hope I am. If you control a card in your field side, the equipped monster gains attack equal to its. Also, your opponent can. Favorite hero. This is my first time activating favorite hero. And turn. Draw. Nasa ominous music. Oh, we're one-shotting him. Zone complete! Alright, we're going into the last zone. Where are we? What? I don't understand this last zone. Nubel's Castle. Oh, we ran out of dice. So I guess I'm just going to use all of my coins, and then I'm just going to end this stream now because I ran out of dice. What did we get? Hero Clayman and Friend's Mirror. Not really good cards. We have Friend's Mirror again, and Beastly Mirror Ritual again, Crystal Blessing, Ajama Knight, and Kojikosi. And lastly, we have a Friend's Mirror, Advanced Dark, Spirit of the Breeze, and Feathery Swim. So I guess that's it for this stream. Thank you for watching, and sorry we ran out of dice fragments because I have a really bad luck with playing dice. Anyways, thanks for watching.